How to stay safe in extreme sports. Extreme sports are fun. The only annoying thing is like if you mess up, sometimes you can, die. So how do you say safe in extreme sports like parkour? Parkour is the example I'm gonna be using for this just because that's the one I have by far the most experience in. But also like flipping sports like tricking or gymnastics, I consider those extreme sports. I'm gonna go over some things today that can hopefully help you in your extreme sport endeavors. Keep in mind, once again, most of this is gonna apply to parkour and flipping sports. First off, we're gonna be going over some things that you can do to help yourself when you're doing parkour outside. Then I'm gonna go over some basic movements that'll kind of help you out. And then lastly, I'm gonna go over what to do when you fall. So yeah, make sure to watch to the end because one of the last things I'm gonna teach you just might save your life. Don't do shit you're not ready for. This one's kind of pretty self-explanatory, but in a sport like parkour, a lot of time if you're training with other people, it's like ego lifting in the gym. You're gonna try to do more than you can do. The only thing is this is very similar to ego lifting. This is very dangerous. If you've been doing parkour for a bit, then you have a really good sense of what you're capable of doing. So if you don't do shit you know you're not ready for, then the odds of you getting hurt go down dramatically. A great way to gauge if you can do something is to jump next to it. I know a lot of the time if you're jumping between rooftops, this obviously you can't do that. But yeah, if you're more of a newcomer, you should not be jumping between rooftops anyway. So yeah, just try to jump on the side of it and see if you can make it. Make sure to account for whether or not you're going upwards or downwards. If you're going downwards, you have a little bit more leeway. You don't really have to be able to jump as far. 2 is master the basics. Using parkour as an example, you should be very comfortable with, things like precision jumps, stride jumps, basic vaults, ways to fall, ways to get on top of things. You should have no doubts in your mind that you can do all of these things easily before you start taking something outside and do like a more dangerous environment. So you shouldn't be jumping between rooftops if you don't know what a cat hang is. Next is don't train alone. When you train alone, it's like a lot less safe because, when you're training with someone, you have someone to kind of fall back on. If you kill yourself, then you have someone to take you. Where do you take someone after they die? I don't know. You have someone to call the cops, I guess. If you get really hurt, you have someone to take you to the hospital. If you're training alone in a very dangerous environment, then obviously you don't have this. So yeah, if you're training alone, make sure you're not doing anything too crazy. And there's also the balance of not trying to do shit you're not ready for when you're with another person to try and like impress them or whatever. So you gotta find the kind of balance between those. Pushing your limits is absolutely essential for progression, but it should be done incrementally with caution. Recognize when you've reached your current limits and don't exceed them. Next is check your terrain. It's very common for things in like cities to be unstable. I remember there's this clip I saw on Instagram of this dude jumping onto like a platform kind of thing and it slid out from under him and the video cuts out before he hits the ground. You don't want to be like that guy. So if it's within your power, go and check the surface you're jumping on and make sure it's not unstable or too weak to handle your weight, especially if you fat fuck. Make sure that you check your environment because if you jump on something that is unstable, there's very little you can do from then on. Except for one thing, which I'm about to go over. This last one may seem pretty simple, but it's the single most important movement of parkour in pretty much any flipping sport. That's because it can be used to bail out of dangerous situations. Lastly is shoulder roll. This one can be applied to pretty much any extreme sport, to my knowledge. It's basically for whenever you fall, you can help yourself by rolling over your shoulder. So how does it work? It's basically used to jump large distances and large heights because it disperses your impact across your entire body, rather than just your feet. If you've ever heard when you're in an elevator falling, you should lay on your back, that's exactly what this comes from, dispersing your impact throughout your entire body. You can do this when jumping off of something with the shoulder roll. You squat down, form your hands like a diamond, and then put them on the ground, and then you're gonna roll over the meaty part of your shoulder, and you're gonna land with one leg bent and off to the side, and then the other leg rolls in front of that one, allowing you to easily stand up with one leg. Once again, it looks very simple, but perfecting your technique will take a while. You know you have it well when you can do it on concrete without it hurting. Once you get it to a good point, then you can jump off a lot higher things without having to worry. And then you can also use it to bail out of things. So how do you save yourself if you're falling face first? A dive roll. Kind of like a shoulder roll. The only difference is instead of starting from kneeling, you start when you're falling. It's the exact same motion. You put your hands in a diamond and you roll over. A dive roll, it's very hard to do it without hurting yourself a little bit, but it'll be better than landing on your face. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you found value in it. If you did, then make sure to subscribe and watch another video similar to this one. I've got a lot of flipping tutorials on here, mostly about tricking, some about parkour. Bye!